Hey Bill, don't you wish you could live somewhere great outside like this?
Nah, I want to live in a paradise city where the grass is green and the temperature is around 20, 22 degrees Celsius.
Hmm. Man, then do I have the code for you?
So as you can see here, the code our group created consists of a main function file that holds four other function files, being More Ideas, Maverick Maps, Plotboy, and New Idea. And so how that works is this code uses an upper and lower bounds, being x being the lower temp and y being the upper temp. And those are temperatures in Celsius to find the countries and major cities of the world whose average temperature of the last 150 to 250 years fits that range. This code will also plot all of the temperature data for each country that fits to show a range of temperatures throughout its temperature history. How this works is our main function that organizes the other functions also uses XLSRead, as you can see here, and it pulls out the land temp country and major city land temperature data points to plug into More Ideas and New Idea. So in our second function file, More Ideas, this function imports the data and separates it into many variables. One of the huge variables that we use throughout the code is A. A equals all of the unique countries in the cell array, and why that's important is because using A, we'll look through the code and we'll find all of the countries that fit the data range later on. And the next big one it uses is index, IND. And this double for loop creates an index that becomes a matrix with all of the data points for each country in relation to A. And why that's big is because in our second double for loop, we use I and j to iterate through the index and find all of the temperature values in the data, and we add all of those temperature values to a total temperature and divide them by the number of values to give us the average temperature for each country, and we use that average temperature to be displayed in the next function file.
Now that all the data has been exported out of the Excel sheet and into MATLAB for purposes of this project, we will now move on to the third function file, which is Maverick Melps, not to be confused with its sister, Average Temps. And this function will take all the variables a, c, x, y, int to find the countries that fit the parameters that were previously entered into MainMan. Then, in doing this, we will get a new cell array, or G, which will be used for plotting and displaying the countries later on. And we also will be finding the average temps of each of the countries that are in that range in this program. And also we will create, as I said before, a G and an H for Plotboy, which you have to find out next in a few minutes. So now the function will run. It will load all the variables of the functions, so all a, c, x, y, int, all that wonderful things. Now the next part of it will have all countries minus the last, which is the average world temperature, which was found previously. We'll now check for countries that are suitable for the range and suitable for the temperatures that we're looking for, or living temperatures. Don't want to live anywhere where it's 2,000 degrees Celsius. And now we initialize our G, which will now include the average temperature. You run through the program, and now you get to where we find out which countries fit the parameters that we have set. So if they fit, it'll give B a value to know that at least one country will fit. Then G will become a cell array with all the country names that fit for plotting, and then H will become a vector with all country temperature values that fit. And then we will display the name of the countries along with the average temperature throughout the last 150 years. Now that all that ends, and now you ask yourself, what if we have no country that fit in our parameters? Well, we have a solution for that too. If B, which is previously stated, is 0, it means no countries fit, so we will just display a simple statement saying there are no suitable areas that live in this temperature range, so better luck next time. And now it will also display the average total land temperature, which was found previously, we will be saving our variables created, and now we'll end the program and start it off in the next function file. Now we have all the countries that fit in our temperature range. We can move on to the next function file known as plotboy. Why it's called plotboy? I don't know. Could be because plotman is absent. Who knows? This function file, in general speaking, will graph our countries that fit in our criteria with over date over temperature. Now, of course, by asking yourself, how do you graph all these countries? You can have multitude countries. How can you graph them all? Well, this program will solve those problems here. What this program will do is essentially it will graph everything, but it will look at how many countries that fit in that criteria and will make a suitable subplot for it. Now, it could be 5 plots, it could be 50 plots, depends on the range you're looking for. So, we start off with load, which is going to be our variables that we have collected throughout the program. Our queue is going to be giving us how many plots we're going to need, and of course you see it's set the length G, and G is our countries. And then W will be the position in the subplot for each country. Moving on, we find the true length of AB, and then we find, and we see if P changes to fit the size of the data. Now that's all over, we get down to endboy, which all data ends at this date. So it could be a range from the 1700s to the 1800s, all the way up to 2013. Now we do that, we go to the next statement of start boy. Don't know why we have so many boys in this program, which will be the start of our data and graphing all this. Go to your subplot, which will create a subplot to correct size of the data. Then we go to the plot data, which will be plotting all the data as a double. Moving on from that, we get plot again, which will plot the start to end in increments of months. And then, of course, you can't have graphs without titles. So we have that solution also, which will, our X will be in the date, our Y will be in the temperature in Celsius. And now we end the program. And to finish it off, I'll move over to my associate to start off with the next function file.
And finally, our fifth and final function, new idea, imports major land and city temp, which is an XLS sheet, and this function reads the second Excel sheet and pulls all of the major cities and their countries out that fit the parameters for places to live. And so how it does that, it creates a V vector, which equals the unique data sets of all of the city names. So V ends up becoming a 100 by 1 cell array with all of the major cities in it of the data set. And then in the double for loop, it searches V and the data set, and it creates a vector P, which holds all of the countries relative to those cities in the same order that the cities are in. And in its second part, it displays the major cities that are included in the temperature range, and if no major cities are included, then it informs the user in an output. So it starts with displaying major cities and the given countries include, then it goes through the double for loop, and B is a check to make sure that there's at least one city, and then it will display all V of I, which is the city's name, and then it will display all P of I, which is the country for each city. And if there were no cities in those areas, it would display no major cities from this data are in these countries. And so, Bill, if you wanted to live in a temperature range between 8 and 9.5 degrees Celsius, the code would output this right here. It would first tell you that this code uses a lower and upper bound temperature in Celsius to find the countries and major cities of the world whose average temperatures of the last 150 to 250 years fit that range. After that, it'll give you the suitable living areas, including like Armenia, whose average temperature is 8.5463 degrees Celsius. and going down through all of them, you can see Romania 8.75, and at the very end it'll give you the average total land temperature being 5.29 degrees Celsius. You can see all these places are much larger than the total world's temperature. And then major cities in the given countries include Berlin, located in Germany, Chicago, located in the United States, and so on, as well as it'll pull up a graph that gives you the average land and every country's average temperatures between 1750 or 1850 and 2013.